Inside Thursday night, how's it going? Alright, strip back, good crack, multi-trade podcast. Share the knowledge you know, help to make our sector grow. Everybody's learning from experts and the journeymen. Insights.
Welcome to another episode of Insight, the Strip Back podcast. I'm Stephen Buckley.
And I'm Keith Delahan.
And this podcast is sponsored by Robus Lighting, the world's leading LED lighting company.
And in association with Snickers Workwear Ireland.
Let's get into it. Insight, the Stripped Back podcast comes to you in association with Snickers Workwear Ireland.
Covering you for all your workwear needs, head over to snickersworkwear.ie and find your local stockist.
This podcast is coming to you from the Robus headquarters in Dublin, Ireland.
Robus are the world's leading LED lighting company.
So make sure you head over and download the My Robus app and see what they have on offer. What we do with most of our guests when we get them in, especially if they're not from, say, like a trade background, and it's not like electrical, and we don't want to get into apprenticeships and all that type of stuff. It's just to try and give our listeners a bit of a different look into different sectors, give people a bit of a different story, a different idea about what's going on in other people's lives outside of the trades. And when I seen your page on Instagram, and obviously we reached out, we were speaking to each other, it's something that a lot of people, I think, from afar, when they're looking into it, they'd be nervous about wanting to talk about that with them because they don't have the knowledge about it. And to get you in here and actually just have a conversation about even just like historic pieces, and, you know, taking care of and restoring stuff, and what that means even just for the environment as well, and people reuse and stuff, I think it's brilliant. Like, so to have yourself, Harry, come in here and share your bit of knowledge with us, I think it's going to be good and educational as well. What we like to do is obviously just get to know the person as well. Before we talk about Kilkenny architectural salvage, we'll just get to know you a little bit. So if you'd like to let our listeners know just maybe a little bit about yourself, where you grew up, maybe what your schooling was like, and then how you sort of transitioned into what you're doing today.
So, well, Kilkenny is home, but originally was actually born in the UK. So my parents actually lived over there. They moved over in the late 70s, like a lot of people did, looking for work, and were there for 20 odd years. We moved home in 97, 98. So I was like 7, I think, when we moved back. So a bit of a shift, obviously, coming back. But my older brother was 16, so that was a big shift for him to be nearly finished school and coming back and whatever else. And then I have a younger brother as well. He's a couple of years younger. But we came back, and basically my parents were like, what are we going to look to do? And that's where they decided to set up the Salvage Yard. We actually have a very big site that's been in the family. It's an old woolen mills, and we can chat about that in a while because it's a pretty cool place. It's been in my family going back to the late 50s, 60s. My granddad bought it. And so we moved back and went to school. Growing up was great. I had 2 parents who worked extremely hard, and especially anybody who sets up their own business, when they came back, you know, it was a big shift for them. My dad had worked in the financial service industry in the UK selling pensions, and we'll touch on it later. Like, he's a phenomenal salesman, and that's why the business is still, our business now is where it is 28 years later. But and then my mom was at home with us, and we were very fortunate that they were able to do that. And we had everything we wanted when we were growing up. You know, they were both working hard, and we didn't know any different whether it was a boom time of the Celtic Tiger or the recession in the later years. We kind of had everything in front of us. And went to school in Kieran's College, good hurling school. Never picked up a hurling day in my life there either, but so that's a bit different. But no, Kieran's was a great school. And then when I went into college, I studied mechanical engineering in UCD. And then did a big U-turn out of that. Knew I didn't want to be an pure engineer, and I ended up getting a job in Davy Stockbrokers, and became a stockbroker for 8-9 years, and got very lucky in that lucky or not, but we ended up there anyway. You make your own luck at times, but ended up going in there, and ended up with what was called the institutional equity desk. So I wasn't dealing with like calling you up and asking you to invest $5,000 in Ryanair or whatever else. I was dealing with the big pension funds and the hedge funds, but internationally. So literally within 6 months of being in there, I was kind of traveling the world, and like a normal year for me was anywhere between 120 and 150 flights a year. And it was kind of relentless, but great fun. I was in my early 20s. Oh, in my early 20s, and given a company credit card, and there's a flight. There's a flight to New York. Go and make money, you know. And it was brilliant, but it was sink or swim as well. Like if you weren't good, you wouldn't be doing it.
Yeah.
And did that for about 8 years, and then made the move back home to Kilkenny then to join the family business, and another big U-turn. And that was obviously a big decision to kind of go.
Would that have been sort of propped out to you to come back? Was it a decision to make type of thing, or was it something that you wanted to do?
It's a good one, because that's something that now that I'm in there 6-7 years, that I give massive credit to our parents. Like, they never pulled us into the business ever, even when we were younger. Now there was the occasional like summertime, come on, let's go do a bit when we were in school and whatever else. But when we were kind of finishing leaving cert, and this was the same with all my brothers, and it was like, you know, academics, I was kind of always a good academic, so college kind of made sense for me to go down that route. But there was never a case of, you know, go and do that engineering thing, but come and work in the yard and let's grow the business together. It was like, go out and see the world and figure it out. And if you want to, at some point, and hopefully the business will still be there by that time comes around, it's here for you if you want to come into it. And like in our world, and it's probably very similar with your world, where lots of kids become an electrician. Well, my dad was an electrician and my granddad was an electrician. And it's like, yeah, but do you want to be an electrician? And you're like, oh, well, the family's always done it, and sure, I have the knowledge base and I'll go and do it. And lots of people end up doing that in the same in family businesses. They get pulled into it early. And then this isn't what I want to do.
Really easy option.
Yeah, it's an easy option, and you know, it suits the parents because now there's a succession set up, and there's trust and all of that. But like, it's hard running a business, and if you don't want to be doing it, you're not.
There's no passion there.
There's no passion there. Like if it's not something you really want to go and do, so that's something I really give our parents massive credit for. To be like, go and see the world, figure out what you want to do, and if you want to come back. And the ironic bit about myself and my other two brothers is, within a year and a half, we all made the move back to the business. We never once sat down, the three of us, and said, I'm going to go home to Kilkenny and let's do this let's the three of us go back and stir it up.
Naturally in your own way.
Everyone kind of nearly was just pulled back and went in. Yeah, exactly. And went back into it. And
parents probably had chips and all these.
Exactly. Click that switch there. Bring him back first. There's a desk for him, and work our way through it. But I think that's what's been fundamental to us actually being able to gel and work. And like, look, we love it, like getting to work with there's lots of people who wouldn't want to work with their parents or their brothers or whatever because they'd kill each other, but we have those days. But it's no, it's been brilliant. And as I said, kind of 6-7 years into it now, it's well, we haven't killed each other yet anyway.
I'm intrigued, like how did the parents, you said your dad worked in the financial sector, like how did he and your mother fall into the trade, if you want to call it? So when they were in the UK, like through the 80s, like there was huge changes going on through London. There was kind of massive renovation. There was money coming into the country versus the 70s where it had been maybe a bit trickier. And they had bought a home which became our family home. Now Dad will say the house was grand. Mom would say it wasn't far off derelict, you know. And he'd always had a good hand, you know, and a good eye himself to be able to kind of go at jobs and do it. And back in the day, you could do every job you wanted back then as well. There wasn't anything signed off and stopping you. Yeah, you go and do it. But he kind of jokes about it. You could be like, God, I need a new front door in the house. And he said, you could be walking down a street and a building would be stripped and there'll be a brand new, a perfect condition, old Georgian door been thrown up in the skip. You go and pick it up, go. And you just start doing it. And that's where he kind of got that initial buzz. And like they did up the whole house, and it was our family home for a long time. And that's where he kind of got the initial buzz and idea of the world of salvage, all the while being a pension salesman and what he was doing. And that was paying the day-to-day bills. But then he was coming home and working on the house in the evenings and at the weekends. And then it kind of got to a time where they're like, look, they were thinking about moving home, and it was just a few things lined up with my grandparents. One of them was getting sick, and they were like, okay, look, let's make the move back. And came back, and we're kind of thinking lots of different things and different ideas. And he jokes about it now, all the things he thought about. At one point, he was going to go into nearly semi-farming, and then it was going to be, we were going to be doing, I think it was mushrooms is what he looked at, I think. Certain type of mushrooms. And then he was looking at a leisure centre, because the big site we have down at the old, it's at the old Woolen Mills in Kilkenny. It's kind of, you know, it's a 10-12 acre site that's down there, and it's quite a historic space. So he had flexibility in what he could think about, and had, you know, he was going to be, there was going to be space to do it. And then
he just kind of like, no, this architectural salvage side, there's an opportunity here. There was nobody down our neck of the woods thinking about it. You know, there was one or two guys up in Dublin doing it, and then a few up the north. North has quite a few salvage yards, but it all links back to the history in the UK as well. And whereas in Ireland there wasn't anybody, they kind of just started doing it. And from day one, nobody knows who you are, so you have to get out there and start buying, but you're not knocking on doors because you can't do that. You don't know who's turning up on their doors. So we start buying at auctions and picking up items. And then word gets out, and then phone calls come in where people are actually selling to you directly. And that's where it's all kicked off.
If you were looking at the salvage yards up the north, and like if you were saying there, trying to set up a salvage yard then in Ireland, for any type of knowledge for anybody that would have been into, you know, salvaging items, would there have been a different sort of love from the normal Joe Soap of what they were looking for, say from the UK, compared to what somebody would be looking for in Ireland, or would it be quite similar?
Yeah, it would be similar in ways. Like, look, at the end of the day, when you go into salvage yard, most of the time people are looking for a bargain.
Yeah, that's all.
That's the underlying rule when it comes to what you're doing. Now, there is people who are looking for specifics, and either that's by choice if they want it, or their hand has been forced if it's linked to protected structure and an architect led or anything like that. But most of the time, it's people are just looking for something a little bit different.
I'd see a lot of stuff on your Instagram page, like, and it could have like a draw to, you know, the love of era, you know, it's like that type of feel of, you know, Irish culture, nostalgic Irish culture. Would you get a push then to maybe sort of branch out then as well for any type of international visitors as well?
Yeah, you would. Like our job is just to have a mix of everything. That really is what it comes down to. And like we've tried to, when you run a business, you want to try and keep that curve as steady as possible as well. You know, like if you're heavy reliant on garden furniture, yes, you have that peak season, but like there's another 6 months of the year to take care of and pay bills. And if that 6 months doesn't turn into an actual real summer, you're in trouble. Like 2 years ago, the summer was an absolute nightmare for anybody who was reliant on that. Whereas thankfully we were selling a bit of everything, and that's what keeps us. So, you know, we wanted a place that you can walk in and just be buying something for your own house. The architect can walk in and be seeing something for a project. The 5-star hotel manager can walk in and go, perfect, that's exactly what we need, is the feature piece in the lobby or something like that. But everybody's budgets are catered to, so you can come in and spend. Like, we have people come in and they'll spend an hour walking around and they'll buy a €2 bottle, but it is just a cool old bottle. That is exactly what that person wanted to buy. You know, and we love that. Yes, we need to sell more things than a €2 bottle to pay the bills, but we also love that because that person is going home with that. That's probably going to sit up on a shelf or whatever it is.
And who did they tell about the experience and stuff?
Exactly. Where did you get that funky green, blue e-color bottle, you know, with a bit of random marking on it or something like that? They'll talk about it, you know, and, you know, we always joke about it, even when we do a lot of timber and we'd be doing mantles for, like, you know, or timber for mantles and fireplaces and stuff. And we're like, that gets to sit in front of somebody's house, usually with a TV above it or a TV to the side of it. They see that piece every day. You know, and subconsciously, it's a story to tell. They think of us, and it's just part and parcel of it, you know. And like Dad has people coming in now who have been coming into him for 28 years. You know, there's not many businesses that can say that, because usually if someone, you know, if they're renovating a bathroom, they'll go buy their bathroom stuff and they might go back to that person in 15 years when they maybe renovation and styles have changed or something broke. Whereas with us, people be coming in every month.
Would you get a lot of those gallery viewers then? It's just people looking around just for... Obviously you get that with any type of shopping. It's window shopping or gallery viewing. Like, a lot of that stuff is just nice to look at anyway.
No, 100%. And we get people, especially on a Saturday, you'll have people coming down and like, look, it's an outing, and they'll be down and they might bring the parents down, or they're doing a project, but they're not there yet. But
they're getting ideas.
And more often than not, people find it hard to leave our place without finding something. As I said, it could just be that €2 bottle, and it's a token thing, and they've got it, and they go home with it, or they go, oh, Mary would love that, I have to buy that for her. You know, and Mary could be a colleague. It might not even be like a close friend, but it's something, a conversation that came up, and they're like, "Oh, I'm going to pick that up for her." So you get a lot of that, and then obviously you get people who are on a mission. You know, the person who's on a mission, walking in the door with the notepad and the pen, and you're like, "Okay, we're going talking flooring or whatever it is now." They're ready to go. So, but that's what's fun for us, because we don't know what's coming in as well, depending on the jobs we're doing. Like, we did a job recently. It was a couple of months ago, and we went into an old pub, and the pub's doors had been closed 50 years ago, and the business had gone into basically a family dispute, and this has been going on for decades. there was pint glasses sitting on the bar still, full of dust.
Mad.
Nobody touched it for 50 years.
So the lads finished their points, left them there, and that was
it. The door was closed, and then somebody passed away, and the business, the building and all went into like a probate, and then this has been going on for years and years and years, changed hands a few times. Long story. Then we got a phone call saying the bar is going to be cleared. And like we went,
do you just lick your lips when you hear things like that?
Well, you know what? You just kind of go, this is going to be really interesting.
It's going to be great, like,
you know, and it's exciting. It's exciting, you know, and not many. It's similar in your world. I'm sure there's some projects you go on to and you go, yeah, same story. And then there's some projects you go in and go, that was it.
All the alcohol was gone.
The alcohol was gone. Yeah. There was a few dodgy bottles in the corner there that should have been a brave man to be tasting. But that's the beauty of our world that we just don't know.
Yeah. Well, you made a great point, like you were talking about in our pre kind of
ramble.
Yeah, pre-ramble, yeah, about like the likes of the generic furniture and IKEA stuff. Not that this IKEA furniture or anything, but it's when you go into someone's house like that, you're not saying like, oh, where did you get that IKEA cabinet? You are focused on the pieces, like someone that has, like in our house it would be quite generic, but we'll always try and get a really nice picture or something like to draw the eye, and most people will only notice that. They won't notice anything else in the room. The floors, the paint, the furniture, nothing. TV, no one cares about TVs anymore. It's just that one picture. So it's,
and you'd spend half an hour talking about it.
Oh, you will, yeah. But no, you made a good point. Like when you think about it, you spend so much money on generic stuff, and it's always the bargain, or
and
the interest
and
piece.
It comes to quality as well. Like that's the thing as well. You can, in a place like us, and not just us, there's other people who do what we do. There's secondhand stores, there's charity shops, there's that whole world. So it's twofold. You're doing your bit for the environment, circular economy, all of that type of thing, and it's brilliant, and it's far more important every year that goes on that more people do it. But also, you might actually be just spending a lot less on picking up a piece, but as you said, it's made of wood. It's solid. And like when you're done with it, you can sell it. You can call us. We'll probably buy it back.
It's probably worth more than when you got it.
We're the type of people who buy it again. Like we've had that where people have bought something, had it for 20 years, come back to us and said, look, we're downsizing. Any interest? And it could be a piece that's actually worth more now 20 years later. Or it doesn't owe them anything anyway,
Yeah, exactly.
And it's also getting people's mindsets around it. And I'm sure in your world as well, when there's skips outside buildings, it's very easy just to lump stuff into it because lads are in a rush on a site. Contractor comes in, got it, get it all out. It's like, there's a lot of stuff in there that could has another 20, 30, 40, could have 50 more years of life in it.
Well, we see it all, even with the false sort of energy saving economy that's out there right now, even with the LED lights, because it's throwaway now, Before, when you used to have all the old light fittings that were made up of ballasts and any type of parts that would be inside the electricians would come in and you would salvage anything. You would take whatever you could, replace and repair, and you'd get it back working again. Nowadays, it's just take it down, throw away, replace new, and it's quick and easy. And just landfills full of these LED lights.
Hit a box, throw another one up top, and get rid of what's there.
So there's a lot to be said for items that will outlive us, like, you know what I mean?
100%.
Which is, I think it's a great thing to think about. We're talking about the table here, and obviously items that you're talking about, like, and even pictures in houses and nostalgic pieces. Like, those items will get passed down even to next generations and stuff like as well. And people will either, like what you said, either they'll love them or they'll sell them on. They'll send them on to other people who love them, who have an interest in that. Where, like that, the generic stuff does just, it dies with you.
And even on that point as well, like, you'll all remember the furniture that was in, like, your granny and granddad's house, this dark mahogany furniture. It doesn't suit everybody now, but like, we've people come in and buy this lovely old dresser or whatever, they'll paint it blue.
Yeah.
And some people go, oh, it's blasphemy. How could they do that to such nice... The piece is still alive in their house and they're happy.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Exactly.
Like, I had a customer who came in and she bought 2 or 3 old... they were church pews, but they were smaller ones. She painted them like blue, red and green. And she put them into the kids' playroom. She's like, they're unbelievable.
Happy out.
The kids love them. Yeah, okay, you might have opinions about where they've come from or whatever. That's up to you. But like, who cares? They're not in the original colour. They can always be stripped back anyway. And but like, it means that piece has avoided being just crushed up because it's out of date. Nobody wants that type of furniture anymore, and it's cheap and cheerful. And the person who made that, the amount of work that went in to make these old original pieces, like you couldn't pay someone to go and do it. If you went and asked a carpenter to go and make a display cabinet like those, he'd just laugh you out the door.
Yeah.
He just wouldn't even give you a quote.
Yeah.
Whereas you can go and pick one up for 50 quid, 100 quid. If you have a little bit about you on a DIY side, go pick up some nice colours and give it a new life.
Bring it back to life.
Bring it back to life. And if it might be in keeping for you. So like there's that whole upcycling world is definitely becoming, to be fair, we've talked about it as well with social media. It makes it so much more accessible because people look at videos of people doing it. Yeah, I could definitely do that.
That's it.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't work, I'm down 200 quid, but at least I gave it a good go, you know. And I think people are more and more aware of kind of getting their hands dirty now as well and being like taking on projects.
COVID brought all that back around as well. Yeah, so I have a bench at home that I'm very proud of as well. Made out of scrap pieces of timber. Like, but like that's still in my back garden. Like even I've nice garden furniture as well. Yeah. But that's staying there, you know.
Yeah. No, nobody's touching that piece. That's yours. And COVID did that for people as well, where they just were like they became, I think, a bit more aware and proud of their own spaces.
Yeah.
As well, because we're all stuck in it. Yeah. In particular, the garden. Obviously, it was a big play on it. But
a lot of people. Like, I know you can joke about it, but there was a lot of people who thought that what they had in their life at that moment was what they were going to be, not even enough, was what they were going to be left with.
Yeah.
Because for everybody who might have had the mindset of getting back out there and working and, you know, life moving on, a lot of people couldn't leave their homes. They were stuck there, especially the elderly and people who are minding more vulnerable in society. So to be able to, like you said, like actually put their mindset and turn it into, like what you're saying there, like a bit of self DIY or resabbing or going up to the attic and finding stuff and repurposing stuff in the house. Like, it's amazing because, like I said, the 1950s house that I'm in, as soon as I got into it, we were up to the attic. I must have put 100 items out in the garden. And I'll always leave items out in the garden for someone to take before they go in the skip. It'll always go out, like. And you'll just see them, and there'll be a chair gone on.
A bit of rummaging, like.
One of my neighbours, like, they're there, like.
He doesn't want to pay for it.
Yeah, but they're buyer sellers. They're buyer sellers.
Should have called us.
Yeah.
Could have made a few bob out of it.
There was one chair. She just took the one chair, the neighbour, you know. Like, the one chair, like. But they came back to it the other day. She came back, she said, how much that chair was worth? I was like, no clue. She was like, I gave about 80 quid for that chair. It was like just a single solid wooden chair, like, and I had this perfect, like, sort of hexagon cushion on it, like, and it sits into it perfectly, and just get about 80 quid for that.
I'm sure they fly out of your place.
Oh, they do. And sometimes it's funny in our world, some stuff will come in and you think it's the last thing that's going to sell, and it's gone.
Flash.
First day. The piece you're like, that's going to be gone in a week. I'll post that. It just sits there now. Why? You're like, that's what. Just you don't know.
You get those Facebook marketplace like type viewers, like you don't have to deal with them, but they're coming in, they have an idea of what they're coming for, they're coming into a yard, they have an expectation of what they want, they have an expectation of something that they're going to buy, where the likes of anybody who's not sort of got a feel for the buying and selling, I can't put myself through the hardship of putting something up on Facebook and going through the process. Going through that whole process. I think you definitely have to have a love for it. Like,
no, you do. And like the big thing that we found with that, and why we like a normal day for us on, like, say, people sending us stuff on WhatsApp that we'd have to sell with it, we were between 50 and 70 people a day, 7 days a week sending us stuff to sell, because people are shifting away a bit from the, like, you know, the marketplace or the done deal a bit as well, because they don't know who's turning up at their door. And people are a little bit more cautious about that, whereas with a business like ourselves or anyone who's reputable, they know kind of who's coming, which makes a difference. But our biggest value add that we bring, like even using your example, is we can take everything. We're not coming picking and choosing. You know, just the best bits and whatever else. So we can go in and be like, we take it all. So that's there's a value, and that's what gives us a great mix as well. And, you know, and conversation.
The reputation there stands witches as well. Like, it's been going for so long.
It's everything. And like we at the moment we have people. It's amazing. Probably about 6 months ago, I had a man come in, and I'd been chatting to him for a while, and his daughter was with him, and she was doing up her forever home, and I was just chatting away, and my dad just rocks over, and he was like, "Oh, hi John, how's things?" And I was like, "Oh, John's daughter." He's like, "I've known John for 28 years. John did up his house when he first came into us, and now he's bringing his daughter in, who's doing her forever home. So the next generation of buyer has been dealt with by the next generation of owner in the business." And it was just like, that's remarkable. Like from us, that's very humbling to have that, and you're kind of like, you can't. There's no price on that, because the potential is that that'll go maybe to my kids.
Yeah.
I have 2 little kids now, who knows, and I'll be following my line my parents did, where it's like, you don't have to come in and work, but if you want to, there's an opportunity.
Yeah.
And that was something that it was a pretty cool moment to just be there and be like, and it's like forever home.
You don't get them heartfelt moments like in every business either.
No.
You know what I mean? So it's
that's part of why I kind of left what I was doing. Like, I was in the corporate world and it was great and the money was great and loved it. But eventually a point comes where you kind of have to weigh up, what do I really want here? And, I hadn't had kids at that point yet, but they were on the way. Like, I left. My wife was 5 months pregnant. We just bought a house in Kilkenny and left like a job where I could have probably stayed forever. And not really ever have to kind of be too concerned financial wise when you do anything too silly. But be in the rat race. And what do you want to do, Now, not saying running your own business isn't a rat race as well. It brings its own challenges, but it also brings a lot of freedom, to be able to kind of position yourself.
Did your mother and father, obviously they had the business, didn't push us into it, but still found their sons coming into it.
Yeah.
And obviously you had gone, you had lived a life already, you had had an experience, not just personal experiences, but business experience as well. Did they notice, or how long did it take for them to notice the business boost? Did it boost
it was
tenfold with the extra help coming in?
Yeah, so like one that was just the actual, like, the business was quite big during the boom years, the Celtic Tiger, because he was there a couple of years before that, so he caught it at a nice point. He enjoyed that, and then literally, like Dad would talk about it, like it was just lights out, just no, and there was plenty of people coming walking around the yard. They were looking for something to do, and there was a lot of people out of jobs and all that through the recession. But nobody was spending money. He survived the recession because he had bought such a big stock. He was. Our world is all about stock, and that's what I was saying about the eclectic mix of items and all of that. So he had had a big, massive catalogue of stock there that he didn't owe anybody anything on. We had no debt. We're quite conservative as a family in general. So we didn't have any debt sitting on us, which is what busted most companies up during that point, because you're sitting there with big rents and big debts. You're in real trouble very quickly. One bad month can really push you hard. And he survived that, but he had to scale back the team. And it was, by the time we came in, it was essentially him plus one other guy. And my dad's turned 70 in 4 or 5 weeks, and like he's still working away with it. He's in no way retired. He plays indoor soccer once a week and racquetball twice a week, and he's playing with a load of like 35, 40-year-olds playing soccer, like and he's got a big toe like nobody to put the ball into the top corner, but like, and he plays racquetball twice a week. So it wasn't that he wasn't hungry anymore. He was very happy with where the business was, just tapping away. And obviously we weren't into it at that point, so he was probably in his head going, look, I'll just tap away at this until the end, and then we'll call it quits, and happy days. It's paid. It put all the kids through school and college, and life is good, and I'm going to retire. And then we kind of came in, and layering in the social media side and everything like that it just transformed the business. We got there quite quickly, getting the jumps in numbers. Like, we've got 150,000 followers now across kind of Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, so it's a big following there. But that happened relatively, we had a good jump quickly. And we noticed it straight away. We were like, oh, okay, there's a whole other market of people that don't know what a salvage yard is and are nearly scared to come out to it because they think it's going out to a scrap yard or this type of thing, where it's like a group of old men just walking around kicking metal about. It's like, it's not that. It's like, it's no different than going down the high street and seeing pieces to going into a building merchants. Just you get them all in one place. So that was where it was. So we definitely noticed the difference quite quickly. But then you also, as us, we can kind of feel great about ourselves. We're like, oh, look what we're doing as the son's growing the business. And then you realise
you still need that keen eye.
You still need that keen eye. And that's exactly it. So now it's a knowledge transfer, which is what we really had to pick up. Because
you are learning from him.
And then day to day. He's learning from us. Yeah.
So it keeps him going as well.
100%. And, he jokes when people come in and they say, oh, we follow you on TikTok. He said, I don't know what that is. He knows well what TikTok is.
He knows what it is,
It's like it's bringing people in, and he knows exactly what it is.
He would have noticed the transition.
Oh, this is it. And so, like, for us, it's all about the learning from him. And then you're learning on the ground and you're figuring it out as you're doing jobs and deals and whatever else. Like, we grew up in sales. Like, when we came home from school and Dad would come home from work and we'd sit around the kitchen table, like, we talked about, what did you sell today? What did you buy today? Sales was always what we've grown up with,
in the background,
and it's always there. And then obviously I went into a heavy sales role in the stock market world. So, some people say you can't learn to be you're born a salesman. I don't think so. I think you do 100% learn it.
Yeah.
There's skill sets that you can have, but the knowledge of what he has in terms of 28 years of dealing in architectural salvage, we're absorbing as much of that as we possibly can. And like, you make mistakes, and that's life as well. Sometimes you buy something, you pay a little bit more than you should have. Once it doesn't break the bank, happy days. More often than not, we're relatively protected in it as well. So
is there any particular piece that like changed the game, or like a memorable purchase that you made that sticks out in your head?
Yeah, it's funny. We all want that Del Boy moment. You know? Where is it going to be? But like we've had like the standout, strange and weird and wonderful is like we've bought and sold confession boxes. Like, you know, like it's a pretty strange thing to do on your day to day when you're like lumping a confession box up onto 4 or 5 trolleys and trying to get it into the trailer and get it down to the yard. And then, but it's, even if it didn't sell, and it has sold, we've had, since I've been there, we've had 2 or 3 of them, and they all sell quite quickly. And we've had a few people buying them to turn them into, like, somebody had it like going into a male and a female dressing room. In a real kind of quirky kind of restaurant kind of shop, in and left and right. And they were going in. It was a little bit different in the same. We've had some pubs buy them as well and using them kind of going down towards toilets and that kind of idea, you know. And it was in keeping with the whole place. Yeah. And but for us, having it in the shed, and when the person walks into the main shed and they turn and they go, "Holy." What is that? You know, that's a pretty cool thing for someone to walk into your business.
You know, one of the days dressed as a priest.
But yeah, get a few funny looks.
But I'm sure for
charge
you, like,
for confession.
I'm sure for you though, having someone walk in and have that vision of what they could use a confession box. So that probably wasn't your selling point.
No, not at all. You know, we were like,
ladies and gents.
Yeah, this is it, and that's, you know, the beauty's in the eye of the beholder. You don't know who's walking in and who just has an idea. And usually the quirkier the better, because they can make something work for it.
Yeah.
And now that, like, that's a really cool piece. Like,
yeah.
You know, not every day we're selling something. I'm selling an awful lot of bricks and timber and stuff like that. But that pays an awful lot of bills as well.
Yeah,
you know, we're trying to grow the team, and we've just hired 2 more guys who started literally on the 2nd of January, and we're trying to grow it again, and, you know, building a good team of guys there as well. But it's, yeah, that you don't know what you're going to see going in on jobs, but that's what keeps it so interesting. Yeah. But it also is what keeps our social media interesting. It also keeps people coming back, because they don't know what they're going to see. Not everything makes it up onto the website or social media. We have too much stuff.
Yeah.
Like, you can't get it all photographed and get it up there. So, you know, we have to you can't beat coming down and walking around.
Would you get a lot of people sending you pictures through the social media back of what they've used the pieces for?
Oh yeah, definitely. And you get some cool stuff, like, you know, and people go in opposite directions of where you think something might be, you know. Like, it's as simple as it's the beauty of Pinterest and things like that these days. If someone buys an old cartwheel, they can just put it into Pinterest and they can go and see some really cool, like, chandeliers done with them, or just clocks and all these different types of things. And it's much more, you don't have to be as creative yourself now. You can get the idea and go, okay, now I'm going to go on it.
What can I use this for?
It's the initial kind of conception of an idea is usually the hard bit. So now AI hasn't taken over that yet. So hopefully people are still thinking for themselves.
Do you find people down on site with their phones kind of scrolling through Pinterest, they're going to get the idea?
No, you definitely would. Yeah. Like, a lot of it is someone walking in and they nearly beeline for you and they have their phone out. This is what I want. If you got anything like that, and you're kind of like, this way.
Yeah, let's go 100 of them.
Yeah. Or it's like, I don't have that, but I have this, and you could probably get there, you know.
Yeah.
And follow me through the store.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Come into my confession box.
Exactly. Yeah.
I remember as you've grown up as a kid, and the Sunday drive in, like, our household used to be, you know, you'd go to the garden centres, and, like, my mother would be going and picking up all the flowers and bringing them back. And even the garden centres of now, like, are completely different to what they were back then. They've evolved themselves, and selling fruit and everything at them now, and they'd have, like, you know, pizza trucks at some of them, or little cafes and all. Is that something they use to think of incorporating maybe into the
it is.
And coffees or
to be honest, it's even the simplest thing of putting the coffee in, and we have thought about it, and then we kind of, every time we go, oh yeah, we'll do that, and then we're like, oh someone is going to actually have to make the coffee. Do it. It's going to be one of us. Or, like, in the world we're in as well, it's not, you know, getting staff isn't easy. Getting good staff is very difficult.
Yeah.
It's getting more expensive. as well to hire people, especially if they're, you want good staff coming in. So if we were doing that, and then, we also joke at times people might stay a little bit too long then as well, and they could be there all day long.
It's like the woolen mill is half the draw though, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh no,
history of it
is 100%. And like, we don't have this massive car parking space like you would at a Woody's or something where there's hundreds of spaces.
You're probably a numbers man. You're probably like, how many coffees do I need to make to pay for the coffee machine, pay for the cups?
Yeah, and like,
and then you're just going to come and buy coffee and not have a look at the other.
Exactly, and you can kind of argue it. You'd be like, okay, you can put all that time into selling the coffee and
sandwiches.
Yeah. But see, this is, it also becomes this virtuous cycle, because you're like, oh, well, we do coffees and people give out, they don't get a cup of tea or coffee. Then they're going to be when they have the coffee. Oh, so you don't do cakes. Then you don't do sandwiches.
Then you're a baker.
Where's the ice cream? And now we're just turning into this rustic charm cafe.
Yeah.
Now there's money to be made.
You get a coffee.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe, exactly. Maybe that's it. And exactly. There's a bottle of beer in your crate or whatever trunk you buy and bring home with you.
But no, just obviously talking about the woolen mill, it's something that you raised earlier on, and obviously having such a history in there, like how important is that site for you and the family, like to have that site? Like obviously it is something that will draw people towards us.
Yeah.
If it was just a normal yard or just a normal shed or anything like that, I think, you'd probably, if you had the sales mindset, you'd still get people coming in, but harness that history, it's great as well, isn't it? Like,
so like the site has been, like, it goes back to the early 1900s, and like Lady Desert is who owned it. She'd have been one kind of the gentry of the time, had loads of businesses around Kilkenny, and you have this woolen mills that was there, which was a big employer, and like where the road we're on is called the Bleach Road, because they were obviously dyeing the wool, and that's where the whole name came from. It, like, we have the old original chimney stack that's still there, and it's 110, 120 foot high. Like, it's the old original, like, it's unbelievable. And like, there's like a handful of bricks that have come out of this, like, and it's been there for 100+ years. And then the business was there for a long time, and even on, like, we're right on the River Nore as well, because there was a turbine on the site which was generating electricity and all of that. And then on the other side of the river, there's all these old cottages. It's a place called Talbot's Inch. And all these old English style cottages are there. That's where all the workers used to live, and there was a bridge that came across to the yard. So like, there's such history just within, say, that 10 or 20 acre square area around where we are as a big employer. And then the site just went derelict. There was a big fire there, I think during the 30s or 40s or something like that, and then it was gone. And then my granddad bought the site back in the 60s, I think, is when he got it. And my granddad was an orthopedic surgeon in Kilkenny, and like, my surname is Maharaj. Like, so we have he was African, basically, is what he was, and it's an Indian name originally. So his parents were Indian, moved to Durban, and then he moved to Dublin to study medicine, married an Irish woman. And like, my granddad was dark, like, he was fully dark.
No way.
But my granny was as white as it comes, white Irish as it is. And they married each other, which would have been very controversial at the time as well. Changing religions and stuff like that. Like, he got married in Donnybrook Church. Like, he was the first ever black person to be married in Donnybrook Church.
No way.
So really cool thing there. And then moved to Kilkenny. And he bought the site where he was because it reminded him of home, where he had grown up in South Africa. They kind of were down on a river, not as big a site, but down on a river, a few little workshops areas and stuff like that, and like old sheds. And that's why he bought it. And then it's been in the family since then. So like, it's a really cool place, and it holds a lot of history for us as well. And in the world we're in, you could sell land. And like, we're less than 5 minutes outside Kilkenny city centre. Literally, we're a 2-minute drive. So like, anyone could sell land now and just build houses on it and do it, but that's not what we want.
It means more.
It means more to us, and we want to build a business that, holds and has longevity to it. And, that's what our aim is with the site. And like, people come down and they just enjoy walking around. And we don't, like, we talk about that we're good salespeople and we've grown up with sales. We don't hassle people at all. We just let them wander, enjoy. It's that type of place. Whereas there are businesses who, like, the owner follows you around on your hip.
Do you want that? Do you want that?
Yeah, exactly. It's like, I don't want anything. Just let me. I'd like you to leave.
Coffee or something.
Exactly. The cake. And whereas, like, we just let people just wander because it's a big site, so you can just go off and enjoy it. But yeah, it's a cool place to
having something home. So old in a sense to have that there. It's not modern. How important then is, or how do you go about getting the correct type of storage? Like, is there a lot of thought that has to go into storing these items?
Yeah, well, like we have one kind of big main warehouse, which is one of the old original buildings. That's what's there. Like, if people say, "Do we appreciate the old?" Like, there's holes in the roof, so that hopefully counts that we're respectful to what it is. So there's a few buckets dotted around the shed where you don't put a piece of furniture underneath it, and and then kind of containers and stuff like that. And like we're pretty conservative. No, how would I say it? We're in the salvage world. We waste nothing.
Yeah.
Absolutely nothing. We find a use for everything we have. Yeah. Like I was only telling somebody the other day, I was in an office and they were printing off a sheet of paper and I could see them doing it. And they're like, "Oh, wrong." They just crumpled this whole sheet of paper up and there was only about 3 lines printed on it. And I was nearly having a heart attack. Like, if that was us, we'd be ripping that sheet of paper across that line, reusing it, doing whatever you could. That'll be used for a note or whatever it is. Yeah. And it's like, there's such waste out there as well, continuously. So like we'd always be salvaging and looking for stuff and whatever we can use around the yard ourselves. But like we have a big, nice warehouse that lets us put an awful lot of stuff in it, and then a few containers dotted around the place that we put other bits into. And the biggest thing for us is actually just working through the amount of stock that's there. Yeah. Like we have a couple of containers that have been closed, and there's stuff in it that's been in there 2 or 3 years. We just haven't had time to get through it.
You know, there's their own limitations by having it on the site as well, isn't it? Like, you know, like where you'd have a lot of people with maybe overstock and over storage and different warehouses and stuff. Yeah. You can get to the point where you're just getting stuff and storing it, and then you don't know what you have anymore. You know what I mean? At least you know what you are working within.
And the biggest thing for us, and I mentioned earlier about being conservative, is like conservative doesn't mean you're like against taking on risk. We just don't want to take on silly risks. Like we could go and buy a big warehouse somewhere else and start filling it, and like we would fill it. Yeah, you know, we joke about like getting this massive warehouse, and Dad is like, "Just if we had a big warehouse, like give me 6 months, I'll have it full of stuff." But it's like, but what's the bill that comes with having that big warehouse? And what do we now have to get the business to be able to sustain it? And like, I'm all for growing the business, but like, we're very happy to be growing cleverly and steadily. And doing this for the next 30, 40 years. We're not looking for the quick hit, you know, and that's the difference. There's lots of businesses that need that and boom, done, exit or whatever it is. Whereas like, that's not what we're trying to achieve. And there's nothing wrong with the other side. Like I came from the finance world where it's all risk and it's leverage and all of these type of things, but that's just not how we kind of operate our day to day, because there's nothing worse than, you know, bank manager calling you and saying, there's money due on whatever rent or whatever is due now and it hasn't been paid out and you don't have it in the bank, and you're like, okay, you're in. Things get hairy very quickly. Well,
like you can see certain other businesses that would have had that niche a long time, and then they get that sort of corporate influx, and then they start to lose it then over time, and then what the business originally was then is lost, and over time then it does just become a corporate brand. You know what I mean? It does. It's sad to see that with a lot of stuff as well, especially like, you know, when you're looking at, you know, somewhere that has the draw for people. I don't think
it's authentic.
Like, I think that is it. Like, it's the draw that you want to keep that. I think if you lose that, I think it just becomes
you just become another big warehouse in an industrial unit. You know, and like you go into any of these industrial units and you go 5 shops in a row and they're all selling the exact same thing. And they're all nearly the same price point because they all have to be.
They all have to be.
So which one has a bit of brand loyalty or who has a sale on this week or whatever it is. So like there's those kind of things, whereas we just want to keep it as authentic is the word. You know, and you're dealing with us, the owners. One of us is always there. Some of us are out on the road and whatever else, but we're always there.
Incredible,
Yeah, exactly. And you can have a chat with us and people come in and go, just what was this place before, you know? So and we're having that exact conversation about what the old woolen mills is with John or Mary who's just walked in the door, and you know, it's great, and that's you can't put a price on that.
And like in terms of scope, like if like for our listeners to maybe understand it a bit better, like in terms of scope, could we be dealing with like the smallest penny that you could find up to like what would be one of your larger items that you could?
Well, in terms of price point and stuff like that,
I mean, like in size,
like confession box is pretty big as well. We have to look that out as well. But let's put that aside. Like we've had anything. Like I've had life-size horses come in made out of like bone and stuff like that. You know, old Chinese bone and stuff like that. So like there is It's everything in anything.
Yeah.
It really is. And like, or big fountains, or, you know, real, like we would have stuff that would come in that would be reproduction. So it's a new version of an original.
Yeah.
Every business has to have that these days in our world. So it's like a cast iron bench. Not everyone can afford to buy an old original cast iron bench, because it could be 10 grand.
Yeah.
But you can sell a new reproduction of really good quality. Its quality is the key.
Yeah.
There's bad reproduction stuff out there.
Yeah.
And there's good quality casting, you know, for 600-700 euros. Still a lot of money. But like, you'll have a bench that'll last you forever.
And do you provide delivery for these items?
Oh yeah, anywhere in the country. Yeah. We work with couriers and everything. We used to deliver ourselves, and to be honest, it was just too much of a headache trying to manage that.
Yeah.
Give it to the couriers. When you get good couriers, you just let the lads do it. They're covering the country. Like, we'd be within a 2-week period, I'd say we'd have a delivery nearly to every county in the country. There's that much stuff going out all the time. And and we have to be able to provide that, because like, not everyone can just lump it into the back of the car.
Yeah,
you know, exactly. Now we'd have people coming in with a small car saying it'll fit. You're like, it's not going to fit. You're going to have to pay the 50 quid for the delivery to the courier or whatever it is.
The car being discussed.
Yeah. Well, that's it. Like, we've had people come in and it's like, oh yeah, I need 300 bricks or 400 bricks. Sure, we'll throw them in the boot. I was like, you won't. So it's like, yeah. I was like, we should usually have 3 people sitting in the back. Yeah, I said, they don't weigh a ton. Like, you know? You know, and you kind of were trying to explain that. It's like, just pay the delivery fee, and you have a bit of fun with that. But it's, like, literally, see, again, I just don't know what's going to be coming in. So like, we could have big pieces come in, and sometimes we're looking at stuff and we're like, I'd like to take it, but
the logistics of it all.
Yeah, sometimes you have to weigh up the effort that's going to go into it, because there is a lot of effort. Like, we're handling stuff, we're photographing stuff, and like, not everything sells on day one.
Yeah,
you know, and like, my dad has a very good line on it, and I think it's important for people when they run their business. In our world, it suits, where it's like, it might not sell tomorrow, but it's going to sell. You just don't know who's going to walk in the door tomorrow and want to buy that.
Yeah.
So you're kind of you just have to be patient. With good pieces.
There's a buyer for everything.
There is a buyer for everything. And like, the feature pieces, you love having them. There is some stuff that just annoys you, and you're like, why is that still here? We've moved that 4 times and whatever else. Yeah. And then eventually you just have to stomach and say, look, just put it.
It's on a Liverpool black.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. They're a good seller, and you just have to move it on and do whatever you do. But we also always have this laugh where, and for whatever reason, it's my dad as well. He'd be like, that's been here a while, we need to do something about it. The next day it's sold. And we just joke with him. Whatever it is he says, he's like, yeah, he has it lined up and he's just messing with us deep down. But it's the random things go on random days.
Can you take a day off mentally?
Yeah, I think yes and no. Today was actually my day off. I'm up here talking to you. But no, it's I made that choice when I left that corporate world, that like, family was going to come first. You know, I didn't have kids, my wife was pregnant, so I knew that was coming. And like, we left in August 19 when we moved back to Kilkenny. My little lad was born in February, 2 weeks before COVID. So literally, the business went into a big shift as well. Like, I worked at home for the whole way through that. My brothers were actually living with my parents at the time, so they were able to go in and kind of do a lot of the packing and get stuff sent out. And I was kind of running head office from my house, from the sitting room. But it gave me great exposure to be able to actually, like, my little lad was growing up literally during that period. You know, it was a year and a half really, where it was in and out of work and whatever else. And like, for me, that choice was leaving, getting on. Like, I'd seen colleagues be away with me, and we'd be sitting down for a dinner in New York, and it sounds glitz and glam, and they'd be on a Zoom call or a WhatsApp call to say goodnight to their kids. And I was like, not a chance. I was like, I'm not doing that. Like, I was in my 20s then. Great crack. I'll have another steak, please. Like, you know, it's like, not far off. Not far off of that. But it's like, I didn't want that. And some people love that. They're happy. That's how their life works, and they want it. Whereas I was like, no, look, family is going to be first. And I noticed that even shift when we moved home from the UK. So like, dad was setting up a new business with mom, and he was working hard. But when he was in the UK, he was out selling in the evenings, because he was selling pensions. So he used to wait for people to get home from work. And he was going, like, doing meetings and calls with them and at their houses. So he was getting home at 10, 11 o'clock at night. Whereas when we came back here, the dinner table became a place where we really gathered, focused. And I was joking about this the other day. We were talking, somebody asked me about the Leaving Cert and whatever else, and like, I was a bit of a nerd and academic, and I studied hard, and I remember finishing the Leaving Cert, and something I really looked forward to was being able to come down, sit down and actually have dinner and have the cup of tea after dinner and not be stressed about, I need to go back up and study.
Yeah.
It was like, sit down and chill. And like, I've made a point of that now with my family. I've a 5-year-old and a 3-year-old about to be 6 and 4 soon. And I was like, I don't miss dinner. I might work when they're gone to bed, but they don't know that.
Yeah.
They will eventually know that. But like, hopefully, touch wood, they'll see the fruits of it, and then they'll be up a bit later. Whereas now, when they're going to bed at 7 o'clock, I was like, grand, we can get the kids down to bed. But we've had dinner and we've sat down for an hour and we talk about it. And like, my kids ask now, what did you sell today, Daddy?
Yeah.
You know, and they start listing off stuff. They're like, did you sell barrels? Did you sell this? Did you sell this? And it's like, what price do you put on that? Like, you know, so, and earnings and working in the corporate world, and someone saying,
if you're selling stocks or something,
you need to be on a flight tomorrow, and you're like,
how was your flight?
Yeah, how was your flight? It was the same thing. Like, so, you know, so turning off, I can say, turning off is hard when you run your own business. You don't, you know, you're in the shower, you're thinking about it, but it's what freedoms can you bring to that when you're like able to make that time. But then it's actually sitting there at the table, and I have this at times. And my wife would call me up in a quick. She's like, "Yeah, you're at dinner tonight, but you weren't really present."
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, it was a rough day, or something, this or that, or something on the mind. So you kind of have to take it on the chin and kind of go, scrap that. That wasn't right.
But I think that's in everybody's life, kind of really. When you think about
it, being there is half the battle.
Being there is half the battle, and then being present is the next step. And I think, for anybody, that's hard. Like, we're not always there.
I think it works both ways. You know, you say yourself, if the mother's home with the kids, or you know, it's self-employment in itself. Like, you know what I mean, raising kids. Like, when you get home, like, and you're having the chats and all that, it's tough to try and balance out those type of moments. But like what you said, to be there, to be in it, like, you know what I mean, and just, you know, if it's the odd glance or the odd look, or putting your kids, tucking them in. And
completely.
You can't, like you said, you can't put a price on that type of thing. And it's,
no, you won't get it again. Like, I saw somebody talking about it the other day. I think it's your man Chris Hemsworth, and he was like, basically, he was like, you don't talk about it, but you actually mourn the different stages of your kids when they get older, because you're like, I don't have that 5-year-old anymore. I don't have that 7-year-old. Now they're teenagers and they hate you, and sure, whatever, we'll deal with that. But like, you do only get kind of one swing at that. So like, you can always make a few bob another couple of years down the line. And like, what are you going to do? Just buy a nicer car? But you didn't see your kid as a 5-year-old?
Yeah, it's not worth it. And like, I presume, like, as the kids get older, you can kind of introduce them down to the side. Like, it's it's not like you're not asking them to go on
they've done a few jobs
to New York.
No, and they've done a few jobs with me even now, like, and it's been brilliant. We've done a few deliveries and they've headed off, and
there's not a lot of jobs you can say that, like, you know.
No, completely. And it's like, look, it's family first, but you have to get your head right as well to be able to do that and try and be as present.
You don't want them to be around the whole time either.
No. Listen, getting through Christmas and stuff like that as well, and
getting back to work as well.
Yeah, exactly.
What's the big push for this Saturday then? What are you looking to try and promote? What's the 2026, do you think?
2026 for us is like, look, we've hired a couple of new lads, so we're going for it this year. And as I said, that's, you know, when you run a family business and you're aware of it, and you always think you can do it all yourself. It's hard. You can't. You have to eventually take it on the head and kind of go, okay, I need to hand that off. So maybe I can dive deeper onto something else myself. We're trying to do this year, a big focus for us actually is trying to do a lot more on kind of on the commercial side of things. Myself and my brothers, that's where we're focusing a lot more, is like dealing with the pubs, the restaurants, the hotels. It's meetings, and most of the time it's actually just awareness. You know, at the end of the day, if you're selling retail and people on social media, the general manager who owns the hotel, the 5-star hotel, is still probably on Instagram. So you're still selling in that way to them, and awareness. It's just a different type of client, but our bread and butter is just people coming in the door, and it's Michael O'Leary's old line: bums in seats and you'll make money. We just want people walking around the yard. And if they're walking around the yard, the business will take care of itself once we have cool stuff there. And priced at a good point that people feel there's some value and a bit of bargains and a bit of haggling here and there. Whatever else, that's part of the game. Like, we even have young kids coming in before Christmas, and they're they're buying a present for their dad or whatever it is, and they're coming up and the item is €27 or something, and there they are giving you the 27. Come on, I'm going to give you a little lesson here. Rule number one is, what's the best price you can do? I'll give you 20 quid. And we'll meet in the middle. You know, and you joke with them. You're like, I might be saving you $5,000 on a future car here instead of just paying sticker price or whatever it is. So we have a bit of fun with that as well.
Was there any gems that would have come through the door that you might have got more, like, would you ever have to appraise things, you know, that are really old and really valuable?
Yeah, there is some stuff without come in, like there's some stuff that we just wouldn't have a specialty on, and that we just know, and it's like, see, we're not antique dealers. Like, if you go into like an antique shop, you know, kind of in city centre Dublin, one of the rows there where there's just shop after shop after shop, they can talk to you and go, yeah, this is a 1860 chair from whatever period. That's not our skill set. Like, salvage yards are more of the volume business where it's stuff in, stuff out at a price. But we do get those gems where stuff comes in and we'd be kind of like,
we have something here.
Yeah, you just know, because when you're handling so much stuff, you eventually kind of go, no, that just stands different out. It just feels different. It looks different. Everything about it is different.
Yeah.
And so you will kind of call in the big guns and try and send off some photos and get an idea of what you're dealing with. But
it's a fair game, like when you're taking stuff from people and you might have an idea of the price of it.
Yeah, like it is. Like, look, we always try to be very fair. And we have on plenty of occasions where somebody says, oh, I'm looking for 500 quid. And we go, no, look, there's a bit more in that than that. Here's X.
Yeah.
You know, it's worth more. But very often it's like someone will be like, oh no, I want 500. It's like, look, we're nowhere near 500.
Yeah, it's more of that than the other way.
You know, I'm not far off charging you to take it away type of thing.
But everyone thinks their own stuff.
They do. But back to your point earlier where you're talking about like Pawn Stars and Drew Pritchard and all of these type of things, people are starting to form opinions on stuff. And it's like, yeah, your chair kind of does look like that, but it's not.
It's not that.
You know, it's not that. It's not selling for $8,000, you know. And so you have a little bit of that at times. So no, look, we try to be as fair as we can always. Like, look, we're running a business. At the end of the day, we have to do what we do, but it all comes back to reputation, because if that piece comes in and I've actually like hoodwinked somebody, I'm going to be putting it up online. It's going to be very visible. More than likely that person knows who we are and is going to see it. Yeah, exactly. And like, you do so much damage very quickly. And one person will tell a lot of people a bad story.
Yeah,
they'll tell a few people a good story, but they'll tell a lot of people a bad story.
Online now as well.
Gosh, listen, the world, and you guys know as well, the world of TikTok and taking abuse, and you just have to take it on the chin and plow.
You're the face of it all.
Yeah. Well, it is. It is a bit of that where you just have to kind of go, oh, look, there's angry people out there, and they help the algorithm. They leave you a bad comment, it's still a comment. The algorithm kicks on, and you get a little bit more reach out of it. But it's
not too damaging.
It is. But like, look, there's like we're like on our reviews and stuff like that. I think we have about 1,400 reviews on Google now, and I think we're on a 4.95 out of 5. You know, so like it's
5% or
there's
5% your dad has
yeah, exactly. There's a few who are
that's not working hard.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And what do you mean you're going home at 6 o'clock?
Probably priests or something.
Yeah.
They're using their things for toilets.
Do you know what? I'll give you we do an awful lot of work with all the religious orders, and they're great to deal with.
I'll be backtracking now.
Yeah, no. I'm dead straight on it, and like, they know what they have, and but, you know, they have to move it on.
It means a lot to
changes happen to them. They just want things to just be dealt with in an official way and done properly and whatever else. But we would be as respectful as possible as well and stuff, to be politically correct.
Look, it's our 100th episode.
Okay.
It's a big one for myself and Keith to get to this milestone, and it's one that I think it's very fitting for yourself to be in here and to take things back, like I mentioned at the start, when we just got up and going, to be able to talk about something that is, I think, important for the next generation, and like my kids and your kids and everybody else's kids that are coming out of school now, if they're getting into podcasts and listening to this, that there is another world out there, that there is another avenue to go down in order to not just be that throwaway society. Like, so I just want to thank you for coming in here and sharing the bit of knowledge that you had with your business. If you'd like to take maybe a couple of seconds just to let people know again where your business is located, what maybe hours you do, and then we'll get into doing a song choice then just to finish out the episode.
So we're based in Kilkenny, 5 minutes outside Kilkenny city centre. Our Kilkenny Architectural Salvage is the name of the company. Website is eurosalve.com for whatever reason. That's just a historic thing. I'll blame my dad for that one. That was done at some point. I think somebody actually gifted him the website name. I think it was an aunt, and I don't know why it wasn't.
Take that for free.
Let's have 2 different names and keep it complicated. But follow us on social media: Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, LinkedIn, Pinterest. We're there. posting 5 or 6 times a day.
Monday to Sundays?
Monday to Saturday.
Monday to Saturdays.
1 day off. We'd probably be very busy on a Sunday, but we said, look, if someone wants to come, they'll come on a Saturday. And we get a day off that we can actually be at home and recharge.
Regroup.
Look forward to a Monday again. But Monday to Saturday.
It's class.
Deadly. And like what Stephen said there, we don't let any guest go without picking a song for our Spotify playlist.
Okay.
So, what would your song of choice be? What are you listening to?
I'll give you, well, I have a 5-year-old and a 3-year-old, so I'm listening to a lot of Frozen at the moment. Let It Go and whatever else that's going on there. But a good song at the moment, Hall & Oates, Make My Dreams Come True.
Deadly.
There's a bit of an old school one for
you. Good.
I know you wouldn't let anything go for free. Let it go. No, class, Harry. I think it's been an amazing 100 episode.
Thanks for having me.
I've said thank you probably 100 times now this time for coming on, but it's something that has stuck with me throughout the whole day today, just prepping for this interview, coming in, having people saying, well done for getting to where we got to. And I just think it's the likes of yourselves, from everybody who's been on over the last 100 episodes, from all the different sectors, from apprentices to boxers to singers. It's all you guys who take the step to trust myself and Keith with your story. So I just want to thank you very much for that.
No, and well done, because it's a lot of people don't get there in terms of that longevity. Like whatever the stats are, it's like people set up podcasts and have great ideas. Like we all have great ideas, but it's actually doing
executing
and executing on it. I think whatever, most people get to podcast 3 or 4 and then go, nobody listened, but you just keep ploughing on and keep doing it. So no, well done to you. That's a big milestone.
I appreciate it.
Brilliant. Cheers, Harry.
Thanks, lads.
Thanks very much.
Appreciate it.
Cheers, lads.
Thanks very much. Right, Keith, another episode in the can.
Yeah, really enjoyed that one. Thanks very much for our guests for joining us this evening on the episode.
Yeah, 100%. And a big shout out to our sponsors, Robus Lighting, the world's leading LED lighting company, and Snickers Workwear for their continued support on this season. Take it easy.
Talk again next week.